Hey, it's Russ and Lauren. This is the Infectious Groove Music Channel, and this is our weekly music discussion video. If you're new here to the channel, we have reaction videos on Saturday, vinyl reviews, and audio equipment reviews, that type of stuff on Sunday. And then through the week, you get to hear us blabber on about things that we like. And usually we do these 5 videos, like 5 underrated this, 5 what's so great about that. Like we tend to do things in 5s just for the heck of it, like mostly so that people can go, oh, well, you left out this or whatever else. Like these are just our picks and so on. But Lauren went through and looked at an artist in a very unique way, in my opinion, instead of just saying, because we have a series on the channel called 5 Songs to Start With, where we say, like, if you're going to check out this artist, these are the first 5 songs that we think you should listen to. But with you picked an artist who's been around for so long that they've had like an incredible career in each decade for the past since the 60s on,
yep.
Which is insane. So if you would please, and I've been dying to say this since I hit record, share your picks.
Oh, that's delightful. Yes, because we're talking about Cher. And, you know, she started her career off in the 60s. And what I love about this is the Cher that we know today is, you know, she's brazen, she's Cher. But in the 60s, Cher was very shy and like she hid behind Sonny Bono a lot.
Right.
Like it took a lot for her to come out of her shell. And the song I picked from the 60s is a cover of a Bob Dylan song. It's All I Really Want to Do. And her voice on this is absolutely, like, it's still that rich, low Cher voice, but it's sweet.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I think a lot of times, this is kind of a wild comparison, but when you listen to like early Bee Gees, like 6, 7 years before the disco heyday, you still hear, in the later Bee Gees, you hear that sweetness in like Robin and Maurice that you didn't hear in the early days. Like it was more Barry being like sweet. And then when Barry got all like the high falsetto, the other two still had that like low sweetness. But like you said with Cher, it's like as Cher went on, she got more Cher, you know, more brazen and more the Cher that we know later. So this is a good one. So if you're moving out of the 60s into the 70s, and the 70s, I feel are at least the first time I knew of like Cher.
That's when Cher started, you know, being the Cher that she really, you know, is. And, you know, there was a lot I could have gone with in the 70s, but my personal favorite track of Cher's from the 70s is Dark Lady. It's a story song. It's a weird story song. It takes a turn. But musically, I mean, it's just so much fun. It's just got a lot of pizzazz.
Which is a word you can definitely apply to Cher most of the time. Now, when you move into the 80s, Cher is definitely one of those artists who I think reinvented themselves very well in the 80s. Like, and I'm not taking shots at anybody, but there are folks in the 80s who were just like, okay, well, this is trendy now, and so I'm going to do this sound, right? And I'm not absolving Cher of that. Like this is definitely from her hair metal phase, right? Like her hair metal sound. Okay. But what I like is you didn't pick the one that I think everybody would instantly, like when you think Cher in the 80s, in my opinion, you think one song and you shouldn't. You should think this one first.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I'm going with, I found someone. And it's truly, I love it too, because Cher didn't write her stuff, right?
Yeah, right.
But this song had a personal kind of meaning to her because, you know, she was just coming out of a divorce and like this song is literally, she found someone to get her through the thing. And so you can hear her really feeling this song versus a lot of other things that she does. Cause she's like, no, this is where I actually personally am right now.
There's 2 things that I want to mention about that. One is, and you're never going to believe this, but the Michael Jackson fan can't stand the tabloid press and whatnot. And I know jokingly say this, but you're a little younger than me. This was a big deal. Like when she was going out with it, there was this guy named Rob.
Was younger.
And the only reason I know the guy's name is Rob is because the tabloid media wouldn't shut up about this guy. And it was like, why do you care? You know what I mean? Like me, I heard this song and and the other part, and this plays into it too. This is not the Cher that sings All I Really Want to Do.
No.
Like the way she is forcefully singing, even the babies leading up to the chorus. I found someone Cher mad.
Yeah,
like Cher mad, you know, like in a healthy way, I think. But I just remember at that time being like, why do I heard this song and was like, oh, good for you. I mean, and I know that makes me like young and naive, but then you'd watch like whatever Inside Edition or whatever and be like, why don't you leave her alone? You know what I mean? But again, I think that's just because I had already been conditioned to despise what they do. Having said that, the whole story I just told accidentally leads into your great pick from the 90s.
It does, and same story, different decade. When you think of Cher in the 90s, you think of one song, and it's an important song
for a lot of reasons.
But I present this one as an alternative. Strong Enough, because Lord, yes, thematically it follows right on with what you're talking. I found someone, and like now I'm strong enough to live without you. You know what I mean? It's so great. I think as Cher's career progressed too, like the messaging in the music that she was putting out there definitely went from all I really want to do is baby be friends with you to like I'm strong enough to live without. And I'm like, okay, Cher. Do it.
Now, here's what's funny is normally we're like, all right, so this is going to be the five, but this broad's been around forever, which is awesome. So you still have three more to share. So in the 2000s. Now this is one of the ones on the list that I looked at and was like, oh, I totally forgot.
I know. So in the 2000s, this is a song for the lonely. And full disclosure, the reason this video happened and the reason this song is on this list is because she actually sang this in a dream sequence on an episode of Will and Grace. Oh. And I'm kind of rewatching Will and Grace right now. And I was like, oh man, that was a good song. It was on the follow-up to Believe. So like this is very much that same like era of her career. But man, it's uplifting, it's dancey, and like she's speaking to her audience, and I love it.
The next one that you have on the list from the 2010s is reminds me of a quote from Cher's Behind the Music. If you ever watched the VH1 Behind the Music episode on Cher, which was done like, I don't know, 15 or 20 years ago now. But at the end of it, the last thing that's said in it is Cher says, when the end of the world happens, there's going to be two things left, cockroaches and Cher. And she's like, I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty okay with that, Yep. So the song you've got from the 2010s kind of.
Yep. It's a song called You Haven't Seen the Last of Me from the movie Burlesque. And I'll tell you what, like you talk about like low, like her voice is lower in this song than anything like I've heard before. And there's just so much power in it. I love it.
This is one of those songs that I think it wasn't a huge hit, but is another reinvention of sorts. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't sound like Strong Enough and Believe and all that. It's a total different, which I mean goes obviously with the type of music that was in that film.
For sure. I love movie musical era Cher, because between that and her role in Mamma Mia Part 2, get it.
Yeah. So we went through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. We are now in 2024, and you've got one more pick from 2020.
Yes, from the 2020s. Cher put out a Christmas album in 2023, and she did a duet with my boy Michael Bublé. It's a reworking of his song Home, kind of as a Christmas song. And I will tell you what, these two smooth, rich, round voices singing together is something that you got to hear. Like, this is not reinventing the wheel or anything like that, but it's a really, really solid, lovely performance.
Yeah, and I think with Christmas efforts, like, one, it's a very commercial move. It's like, oh, well, I'll sell albums at least once a year with this. People buying this at Target or whatever. It's a very commercial move. And of course, like, this is a song that's already been done a ton, even though it's fairly new. But it's a good version of that song.
Yes.
Yeah. So like I say, we normally do 5 songs, but with Cher, there's so much. She's been around for so long. You could do one from every decade. And the whole point of these videos is exactly that, to get you talking. So please leave us a comment. And let us know what you think of Lauren's picks or any of our thoughts on the songs that we talked about. Or like, there's ones where in the 80s and 90s, we left out the obvious one. Let us know if like you really like the obvious ones better or that type of thing. The discussion is what we like to see. If you would please drop a like on the video, because that helps us out. And as we always say, thank you so much for watching.